Welcome back to my videos, and this video is about microwave oscillator design. But before going to see this, let's see some few points about an oscillator. Basically, an oscillator is an electronic circuit and that will produce continuous or repetitive waveform at the output but without giving any AC input signal. Now for producing such an output, this circuit inside consists of one amplifier block, one feedback network block and one mixer block. Also, it has to satisfy Barkasian criterion, which consists of two conditions. One is the loop gain is equal to unity, that is mod of A beta equal to 1, and the phase shift around the loop is 0 or an integer multiple of 2 pi like 360 degree. Now I will tell you how we can achieve 360 degree phase shift. See, once the signal is entering into the amplifier block, this amplifier inside consists of number of active devices like BJT or PET. So that device will produce 180 degree phase shift. So after that, when the signal is entering into the feedback network block, the feedback network itself produces 180 degree phase shift. Therefore, overall phase shift is 180 plus 180, we will get 360 degree. Due to this phase shift value, the feedback signal phase is in phase with the incoming signal. So that kind of feedback is called as positive feedback. So in an oscillator, positive feedback is utilized for producing sustained oscillation at the output. Now the overall gain is represented as G equal to V0 divided by Vi, which is equal to A divided by 1 plus A beta, where A represents the amplifier or open loop gain and beta represents the feedback factor value. Now see this, the basic difference between an amplifier and an oscillator. An amplifier need an external input voltage with the biasing supply voltage for producing an amplified output. But an oscillator, it doesn't need any external input. Only by using biasing supply, it will produce a continuous repetitive waveform at the output. But the beauty in the oscillator design, what it is, both cases inside they are utilizing an active device. Okay. But if the active device is going to operate as an amplifier, they will operate the device in stable region in the ideal condition cases. Whereas in oscillator, they will operate that stable device in the unstable region. Okay, so based on this, these are some of the classification of oscillator. Basically three criterion. One is depending upon the method of producing oscillation, it is classified into feedback oscillator and negative resistance oscillator. So negative resistance oscillator means if an oscillator that utilizes its negative resistance property for producing an oscillation is called as negative resistance oscillator. Like one of the example is gun diode oscillator. When you see the characteristics curve of that gun diode, when you are increasing the voltage, initially the current start to rise up to some point. After that, when you are increasing the voltage, current start to decrease. That region is called as negative region, and that region is utilized for producing oscillation. That oscillator is called as negative resistance oscillator. And for depending upon the waveform generator, the oscillator is classified into sinusoidal, harmonic oscillator. See, sinusoidal or harmonic means the output is sinusoidal one. Example is Hartley, Colpitts. These are all under the category of this type, as well as non-sinusoidal or relaxation oscillator. One of the example is UJT. The output is not a sinusoidal one, it's like a sweepy form. And based on the frequency of generated voltage, the oscillator is classified into audio frequency oscillator, radio frequency oscillator, very high frequency oscillator, ultra high frequency oscillator and microwave oscillator. This Hartley, Colpitts, RC phase shift, clap, these are all under the category of radio frequency oscillator. And the crystal oscillator is one of the example for very high frequency oscillator. But our aim is to design microwave oscillator. An oscillator which producing the waveform in the microwave frequency range is called as a microwave frequency oscillator, and the frequency range is 3 GHz to 30 GHz range. Now for producing that kind of frequency waveform, the general circuit for a transistor oscillator will look like this. Okay, so the equivalent circuit consists of a feedback network block. Okay, so that feedback network Y1, Y2, Y3 act as a admittance value. That's GI and G0 represent input and output conductance value. This GM represents trans conductance value, and this V1, V2, V3 and V4 are the number of node point, and that particular point what exactly the voltage is. And now see this is one of the configuration, and this is one of the example of transistor oscillator model. The first diagram represent Colpitts oscillator model. The Colpitts, the feedback network is represented by one inductor which is parallel with two capacitors C1 and C2. And for a Hartley oscillator, two inductor parallel with a capacitor. Okay. Now for producing sustained oscillation, the condition is for Colpitts oscillator C2 divided by C1 equal to Gm divided by Gi, where Gi represent input side conductance value, and for Hartley oscillator L1 by L2 equal to Gm divided by Gi. Similarly, when you are replacing that BJT with a PET element, the necessary condition for oscillation for Colpitts oscillator is C1 divided by C2 equal to Gm divided by G0, where Gm represent transconductance and G0 represent output side conductance value. And for Hartley oscillator L2 divided by L1 equal to Gm divided by G0. Now, this is another variety which is called as crystal oscillator. Here, instead of a feedback network, here they are utilizing a crystal for producing a resonant frequency. So basically, the application for the crystal oscillator is when they are concentrating the frequency stable output, then they can go with the crystal oscillator, because when you are utilizing that RF oscillator model under high frequency range, sometimes the frequency may be an unstable one. So for frequency stability operation, crystal oscillator is the best one under some megahertz range level. Now this is the equivalent circuit for the crystal oscillator, and most of the multiple choice question they will ask the equivalent circuit of the crystal. So that is consists of series resonance circuit as well as parallel resonance circuit. So it will produce series resonant frequency waveform, and that is parallel resonant frequency. Omega S and omega P represent angular frequency belongs to series resonance circuit as well as the parallel resonance circuit. Now the formula for series resonance circuit is omega is equal to 1 divided by root LC, and for parallel resonance circuit omega P equal to 1 divided by root of L into C naught C divided by C naught plus C. So sometimes they will ask some question based on that value. You have to find out the series resonant frequency, means you have to substitute this formula. Okay, and this is one of the example for crystal oscillator which is called as Fies crystal oscillator, where the crystal is connected in parallel with two capacitors C1 and C2. Now coming to this microwave oscillator, so for microwave oscillator basically there are two model. One is one port negative resistance oscillator, and the next case is two port transistor oscillator model. These are the two types. But the very important point what they are considering, see, microwave frequency are under the gigahertz range frequency. Okay, if we utilize a normal RF oscillator device like a feedback network device, means that will produce unstable output. Okay, so for that what they are finding, first whether this active device is a stable one or an unstable one, and based on that they are forming the oscillator circuit. If the device is a stable device, okay, then they will utilize the feedback network for producing an oscillation. And in the previous slide I explained about that this Hartley Colpitts oscillator. No, these are all under the category of that stable active device, means feedback network model. But if the device is an unstable one, then we have to go for some other technique, and I will tell you what's the technique in the two-port oscillator model. Okay, now coming to this one port and negative resistance model. No, what is one port means, if the active device consists of two terminal, then that kind of oscillator is called as one port negative resistance oscillator. Like example is gun diode oscillator. Okay, if the active device consists of more than two terminal, that is called the two-port oscillator model. Okay, now in the one port negative resistance oscillator model, it consists of one input side impedance value, another side load side impedance value, and in which form a closed loop. In the closed loop the current is I. and this gamma in and gamma L represent reflection coefficient looking towards the input side of the network as well as the load side network, and Zin Zl represent input impedance which is equal to Rin plus Jxn, and Zl equal to RL plus Jxl, which is the load impedance value. Now for producing sustained oscillation in the one port negative resistance oscillator, it has to satisfy three conditions. One is RL plus Rin equal to 0, that means RL equal to minus Rin, and the second one is Zl equal to minus Zin. So once you achieve RL equal to minus Rin, it will automatically achieve Zl minus Zin. And the third condition is gamma L into gamma in equal to 1. Okay, so these are the three conditions for producing sustained oscillation in the one port negative resistance oscillator. Now I will tell you how we can get these three conditions. Now see the loop. Inside the loop, when I am applying the Kirchhoff voltage law, I into Zin plus I into Zl equal to 0. So I into Zin plus Zl equal to 0. Therefore Zl equal to minus Zin. So once you are replacing this Zl and Zin by that real and imaginary value, okay, RL plus Jxl equal to minus Rin plus Jxn. So once you separate real and imaginary values, RL plus Rin plus J into XL plus Xn equal to 0. Once you completely separate it, RL plus Rin equal to 0, therefore XL plus Xn equal to 0. So automatically what's the meaning? Zl equal to minus Zin. Okay, so the two conditions are over. Now the third condition is, for finding that, the formula for gamma L equal to Zl minus Z0 divided by Zl plus Z0. So Zl value is what? Minus Zin. So once you substitute that value, you will get Zin plus Z0 divided by Zin minus Z0. But our condition is what? We have to get gamma in into gamma L equal to 1. Okay, so already we found gamma L, but gamma in value is actually formula is Zin minus Z0 divided by Zin plus Z0. So once you substitute that, both are reciprocal prompt, so that will cancel and you will get 1. Okay, so this is the way that three conditions are achieved for producing sustained oscillation. Whereas in the two-port transistor oscillator model, no, there they are utilizing some different strategy. Okay, so what they are doing, first according to the application, they will choose the transistor model, like common collector or common base, like that they will choose the model. Okay, after that they will go stability check, and in the stability check they will find the value for K and delta. Actually stability check means the test is called as K delta test. What is K delta test and everything I already explained in my previous videos. Okay, so based on that they will check the stability. If the device is stable one, then they will utilize feedback network for producing an oscillation. But if the device is an unstable one, what they will do, they will draw the input stability circle in the Smith chart. From the Smith chart, they will find what's the unstable point, and that point, that means that gamma S value they will found, and they will load that value in the input side of the terminating network for generating an oscillation. And similarly, they will load the value for gamma L in the load matching network. And for producing sustained oscillation, this two-port transistor oscillator has to satisfy these all the conditions. And the condition number one is gamma S and gamma in equal to 1. Once you achieve this one, that will automatically achieve gamma L and gamma out equal to 1, and hence Zl equal to minus Z0. Okay, now the third condition, actually this is not a condition, they are choosing as Rs equal to minus Rin divided by 3 and Xs equal to minus Xn, where Rs represent real part of input side source value, and Xs represent imaginary part of source impedance value. Now for producing these three conditions, now see this, how we can achieve this gamma in equal to 1. By using that, how they can achieve gamma L and gamma out. See, gamma S and gamma in equal to 1, right? So once you take it as gamma S on this side, 1 by gamma S equal to gamma in. In the S parametric format, gamma in equal to S11 plus S12 S21 gamma L divided by 1 minus S22 gamma L. Okay, then take LCM. When you are taking that LCM, no, you will get S11 into 1 minus S22 gamma L plus S12 S21 gamma L divided by 1 minus S22 gamma L. And when you are taking outside this gamma L, you will get S11 minus gamma L into S11 S22 minus S12 and S21. And the del formula is actually S11, this is S22, okay, minus S12 and S21. So once you replace this equation with the del, we will get 1 by gamma S equal to S11 minus del into gamma L divided by 1 minus S22 gamma L. So once you cross multiplied, you will get 1 minus S11 gamma S equal to gamma L into S22 minus del into gamma S. Therefore gamma L equal to 1 minus S11 gamma S divided by S22 minus del into gamma S. But our point is we have to get gamma L into gamma out equal to 1. Okay, so already gamma L we found. Now gamma out based on S parameter formula is actually S22 plus S12 S21 gamma S divided by 1 minus S11 gamma S. When you compare with the gamma in, this S11 is replaced as here S22. Therefore, by using the same way, we can get S22 minus del into gamma S divided by 1 minus S11 gamma S. But our relation is what? Gamma L into gamma out equal to 1 we have to find. So gamma L into gamma out equal to, when you substitute these two values, both are reciprocal, that will cancel and you will get 1. So when gamma L and gamma out equal to 1, then ZL equal to minus Z out. Okay, so this is the way, by using either gamma L and gamma out, we can achieve gamma S and gamma N. So both cases are same way. So this is the way they are designing microwave oscillator. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, kindly subscribe my channel.